Hey everybody, it's Rob Chappell here, Executive Editor Madison365 with your daily update for Friday, January 7th, right? 7th, that sounds right. It is, I don't know what else to say other than it's bad out there. In terms of COVID spread, now there's a couple of things I'm going to mention. Big numbers in terms of COVID cases, case rate, that kind of stuff. However, we're not seeing that those big numbers translate to deaths, and the hospitalization situation is bad, but not as bad as I feared it might be. So let's talk through it. And I only say that I'm not trying to minimize anything. I'm trying to tell you truthfully. And I was accused on Twitter the other day of spreading doom and gloom, and I don't want to do that. I don't need to scare you. I just need to tell you the truth. Today we are reporting 12,293 new cases, by far the most in a single day. Well, I guess not by 1,000. The 7-day average of new cases is 7,637. That is 800 more than it was yesterday. So for a 7-day rolling average to jump by that much, it's serious. Now, I mentioned this yesterday, and I don't want to be confusing about it, but that 12,000 new cases, 12,293 new cases, that's the highest we've ever seen in a single day. Those are not positive tests that were run today or that were, confirmed today. Those are just all the positive test results that got entered into the data today. Okay. So far, our worst day in terms of actual positive tests that were run on a given day was the 5th, which is Wednesday. And I had to pause because these graphs are very touchy. You have to hover very carefully to get the right number you're looking for. So on Wednesday the 5th, there were 41,710 negative tests and 16,747 positive tests in that one day. That is the on that particular day. Then that's a 28.6% positive test rate just for that day. I would anticipate actually that number is low, just because it takes sometimes 3 or 4 days for a positive test or a negative test for that matter to get reported into the data. So if I look at that again Monday, it might actually be higher than 16,747. We do not, and what we have right now for yesterday, for the 6th, is only 5,394 positive tests. Obviously, there are more than that. Those are the ones that have been entered into the data, right? So that I would anticipate the 6th probably clocking in more like 17 or 18,000 positive tests. So it's all that to say it's rough out there in terms of spread. Now, the positive test rate on a 7-day basis is 26.8% right now. I would imagine that'll get revised upward also. For yesterday, it has been revised up now to 27.9. We're pushing a 30% positive test rate, guys. And as I mentioned, we still have a lot of tests. Like on the 5th, the day with the single highest number of cases, there's 59,000 tests. 59,000 tests. That's a decent number of tests. That's more tests than we did last year. On even like the highest days of testing last year, we were in the 45,000 range, 45 to 50,000 range. Right, so it's because there's two factors that go into the positive test rate, right? A high positive test rate could mean lots and lots of cases. It could mean not enough testing, or it could mean both. In this case, it's there's plenty of testing. It's just way too many cases, like absurdly large numbers of cases, such that we've never actually seen before. Now, question is, do those cases lead to bad outcomes? Right? Thank you, Margie. I'm sharing information. I'm not sharing COVID. Very good. Thank you. Because the thing is, like, if COVID is like a cold and like everybody in the world gets a cold, but nobody lands in the hospital, then who cares, right? It's fine. So we got to look at then the consequence of all those cases. Right now, we have not seen a big surge in deaths, which is good. Again, we wouldn't expect to see a surge in deaths for about 4 weeks after the surge in cases begins. So if we look back here a little bit, this surge in cases started, the Omicron surge in Wisconsin really started, you're looking at about the 21st, 22nd, 23rd of December. Which means we would see increase in deaths begin like the 4th week of January, right? So right now we're at 21 deaths per day. That's 12 new deaths confirmed today, 2 new probable deaths confirmed today. So our total death toll now 10,271 confirmed, 1,131 probable. And we hold our breath and cross our fingers and hope that that doesn't go up very much. I think it will. Question is how much. You'd expect if the case fatality rate is the same now with Omicron as it was under Beta and Delta last year. Well, last year was mostly Beta. You would expect a month from now to see 76 deaths per day, give or take. 75 to 77 deaths per day. That's a lot. If Omicron is indeed less severe because it's just less severe, but also because it's infecting more vaccinated people who are not going to die from it, you'd expect to see that in the 40 to 50 deaths per day range a month from now. That's still a lot, right? I would prefer it stay under 20. I would prefer it to be 0, frankly, but so there's a chance, there's a non-zero chance that our death rate will stay in the 20s, and that would be fine. It would be fine, but it would be much more tolerable than the deaths going up to 60 or 70 a day. We'll have to wait and see, and cross our fingers, pray if that's the kind of thing you do. Now, the hospitalization situation today is kind of a mixed bag today. Total current hospitalizations with COVID-19, 2,109. That's approaching the record. The record, the most we've ever had on any given day back in November 2020, about almost 2,300. If this trend continues, we will break that record Monday or Tuesday, if this trend continues. Right now, we're looking at a 23% increase in the past 7 days. That's the real concern to me. The number obviously is really bad, is really high. There's a lot of people to take care of, especially considering that a COVID patient in a hospital is like 3 regular patients. That's what Dr. Ashok Ray told us last year from Green Bay. So, this 2,109 people is just a lot to be taken care of. But it's the fact that has increased so quickly. Like these hospitals have to be just feeling really slammed right now. Now, the other number that is slightly better, slightly less terrible, is 472 is the current number of people in the ICU, which is actually lower than yesterday by 3. So not a big drop off. But it is it didn't go up a lot. It's still up quite a bit from a week ago, still up by 76, which is also almost a 15% increase in the past week of ICU patients. But the number of ICU beds available has gone up from 59 to 63 in the entire state. It's still not enough. We're still 95% full in the ICU statewide. There are still 0 ICU beds available in the Fox Valley, right? But it's not the ICU situation is not a lot better, but it's not a lot worse either. And we're at that point now where if there's anything from one day to the next that's not worse, you take it as a win. Right? That's where we are right now, unfortunately. Okay, so that is the gist of the COVID situation. If there are any questions, if you're not understanding the data, drop a question in the comments. I'm happy to address those questions as they come up. I'm going to take a short pause, and then we got some other local and some national news to share with you right on the other side of this break. Don't go away. We'll be back in 30 seconds. All right. Thanks for staying with us. The profile I did this morning is a person that I didn't know, but my wife and co-host, it's only 10 minutes co-host, Stephanie, knows this person from working together for a long time at the university, and that is Ida Balderramos Trudell, who has been doing diversity, equity, inclusion work at the university for a long time, like 20 years. Not all in diversity, equity, in student affairs, student engagement, but all kind of with that diversity and equity lens. She is now going to start as the new director of innovation and diversity at Overture Center for the Arts here in Madison, which is is a challenge because the Overture Center, if you know anything about Madison, Overture Center is often viewed incorrectly, unfairly. It's often viewed as kind of inaccessible and mostly white, right? Disclosure, I used to work there. It used to be my job to make Overture Center look good and to say nice things about Overture Center. So, so we worked really hard back in those years to overcome that reputation. And Dr. Ed Holmes has been there for 3 years now, doing this, leading this diversity, equity, innovation work, and now has hired. Now he's a sort of been elevated to like VP level, Chief Diversity Officer, and so he's brought in Ida as the director of innovation and director of equity and innovation. I knew I had that wrong. I know diversity was the wrong word. She's the new director of equity and innovation. But I had a really good conversation with her. She's a wonderful person to talk to. Go ahead and read that profile if you're interested. It's there at Madison365.org. And if you're interested in the arts in Madison, it's an important moment. Also today, we want to let you know that tomorrow, Black men and boys are welcome to go get vaccinated at the Rebalanced Life Wellness Association's Men's Health Center, which is inside JP Hair Design, the barbershop on the west side. This is they've had like 6 of these vaccine clinics there. This is a photo from one of those. JP's is the west side barbershop's been there 21, 22 years, something like that now. And for the past few years, they've also had a men's health clinic there. And Aaron Perry runs that, and he's offering free vaccines, including boosters for the kids 5 to 12, right? Or 12 to 18, the whatever the one that's most recently approved by the FDA. They're going to have those. So any age, 5 to 90, whatever, come by the barbershop tomorrow, get lined up, and get your vaccine. In national news, we lost another great one today. Sidney Poitier passed away at the age of 94. He was the first Black Best Actor Oscar winner. Really groundbreaking films. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. They Call Me Mr. Tibbs. indelible performances, and so a real loss. A real loss for the arts community. And finally, the men convicted of killing Ahmaud Arbery, all sentenced today. But the upshot is that none of them will ever get out of prison. One of them, the father and son who instigated the whole thing, both got life without the possibility of parole plus 20 years for good measure. And their neighbor who filmed it and helped out was also sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. So he's already 52. So it's that's it. That's the I don't know if that's the end of the story there, but they were convicted a few weeks ago in that murder from February of last year, February of 2020. Sorry, and it just got their sentence today. So that's all the news I have for you, Pernisha. That doesn't shock me. That you had trouble at Overture Center, but it's that they are making an intentional. Taking intentional steps to be more inclusive. So, definitely talk to Ida. I'm sure she'd love to hear your story and help out however she can. Thank you for your attention. Have a wonderful weekend. We don't get data on the weekends anymore. I think I would love it if we did, because like the reason they stopped doing data on the weekends is because it wasn't bad. I kind of feel like for the next couple of weekends it would be nice to see some data, but we won't get that. So I'll be back Monday. Have a good weekend. Try not to worry too much about it. I'll be sitting here worrying for all of us. But until then, enjoy yourself. Stay warm. And we'll talk to you soon.
This is 365 Media.